All right. Welcome to the North Fork Experience, the podcast where we explore the journeys of exceptional individuals and businesses shaping our communities and industries. I'm your host, Kirk Hays, and today we have a highly skilled realtor who brings a powerful combination of academic rigor and market expertise to the Philadelphia real estate scene. He's a proud member of the top-tier Revolve Philly Group at Compass, holds both a BS and an MBA in international business, and is a renowned master negotiator. Please welcome Josh Teshome. Josh, good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So it's really great to have you. Let's dive right into your North Fork experience here. Josh, you hold a Bachelor of Science and an MBA in International Businesses from Lynn University. How does this specialized academic background, particularly the focus on international business, inform your approach to the local Philadelphia real estate market?
Yeah, so I got my master's degree as of May. So I'm very happy about that. My journey in college all started at Lynn University in Boca Raton, Florida, and I was within the 3-year program. So typically a bachelor's degree is within 4 years, traditionally, right? Because of my GPA, I was invited into the accelerated degree program. So I got a year's worth of classes for free, subject to my GPA staying as high as it was. And it was a great experience. So I finished my bachelor's within 3 years. Immediately once I graduated, in fact, when I was walking across the floor to receive my diploma, I was already taking my first 2 MBA courses. My MBA course, or my program in its entirety, was 1 year. And also typically an MBA is maybe 2 to 3 years, depending on the program. Bachelor's degree was within international business, and I also specialized in international business for my MBA. An MBA is more rigorous in terms of research. It's more research based rather than curriculum and core classes like traditionally your bachelor's degree would be. And I really enjoyed my time at Lynn University. It was a great experience, and I used my expertise in international business to launch my career into real estate. I am originally from Philadelphia, born and raised, and I went to school in person down in Boca Raton. I did my MBA online, and I initiated my time in real estate in August of 2024. So within the last year, it's been exceptional for my career, for my personal life. I'm very happy with my brokerage. We are the largest brokerage in America for about 4 years now, in terms of volume, in terms of technology. And we have the best CRM, we have the best everything in terms of culture. Real estate is one of the most cutthroat industries and known to man, really. And you really have to, grow some to be able to handle everything that it has to offer. It's not always the glam and the fashion that it always, online might make it out to be. Even though I always present myself well in a very nice way for all my clients, and how I prospect myself. However, there is a lot of work that goes into it. And having received that education, that actually helped me so much. I guess nowadays people are reluctant to go to college. I would also just recommend to anyone major in something that you're interested in and you know that you would see yourself doing. I knew I was really good at sales. My family has a background in real estate, internationally, in fact, and it just, fell into my lap, and I put in the work and the work has paid off, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, that's very impressive, especially being a part of that accelerated degree program. And also great advice there for anyone looking to get into school to just, really follow something that you could see yourself doing long term and that you're passionate about. And, taking those steps early on can really give you a really leg up in your future and your career. So you are part of the Revolve Philly Group at Compass, one of the top teams in Philadelphia. What are the key advantages of being part of a high performing team? And what role does collaboration play in achieving such impressive results?
100%. So my team lead, his name is Brett Rosenthal. He's a great, great team lead. He originally got into real estate because his brother was also in real estate. In fact, he got into real estate first, and then Brett was a lawyer, and he got into real estate, yes, from his brother, and they worked together to build up their career over many years. And now they have separated into their own team. So his brother Reed is a realtor and a team lead at Berkshire Hathaway, and Brett Rosenthal is over here at Compass. In terms of our team specifically, we have a great amount of team members. There's about 7 of us. We have included 2 new teammates. We are all doing amazing. In terms of volume, I would say our volume is pretty well in this time of the year. Typically, the fall is more of a slower time and winter time. But I mean, in terms of myself, I would say I had a great year. Typically, within the first year of a realtor's experience, um, of them being licensed first, they're going to have many obstacles, many objections. For me, I was able to remain within the top 15% of all new realtors, which is impressive as it has a really high turnover rate. I believe the turnover rate is around 80%. People within 3 years do give up. So I don't see myself giving up. I think I'm doing great. And yeah, our team is really well. That mentorship is really important in the first couple stages of that new realtor. Many new realtors are, they're often getting asked, why did you get into real estate? When you receive these questions, when I was first licensed, many people tend to ask me the same exact questions, other realtors. And I never really understood why. What made you get into real estate? What is your CRM looking like? What is, it's like, they're probably like, well, I'm coming with good intentions, but they really do want to see if you're going to make it or break it. And, that's where that egotistical side of, the industry does kind of come into play, no matter which brokerage you're at. But I would also note that within Compass, we have a great culture. No one has an ego. I would be working at the office, and it's not like there's a number of sales volume that you're walking around with. As long as
Uh-huh.
you're committed to your business and you're committed to being able to grow, you're going to grow.
Yeah, it sounds like that's really a great spot for you, especially like you mentioned, having a really strong mentorship when you're getting started too. Even with your academic background, it's still important to have great mentors when you're getting into something new like real estate like that, and especially with such a field it's very competitive for sure, especially in Philadelphia. So it's just really important to have that good backing from a good company like Compass. So also, Compass is known for its cutting edge technology. How do you skillfully combine your real estate expertise with these technological tools to provide what you call unmatched service to your clients?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. So, like I mentioned before, Compass has the best technology. We have updated our software over the years. More specifically, my favorite tool that we use is a collection. So think of a collection as a group of homes, whether or not they're for sale or they are just rentals for your clients. It's a platform that we have within our software called Compass One. We create the collection for the clients. The client has to accept the invite, similar to how you would view something on Zillow, right? You will see the map of the different listings available. We also use private exclusives within our brokerage. So those are off market private exclusive listings that are not going to be on the MLS or Zillow or any other platform. As we remain number one, we have the highest amount of traffic from external consumers who go into Compass to see the real listings, the real off markets, as it is exclusive to the client, yet it has the most amount of options for that specific consumer. Now, if someone were to go on Zillow, you could pull up a listing at this moment right now. Is that listing verified? Is that on the MLS? Are they working? Is that owner? Is it for sale by owner? Is it just a landlord who could just say, oh, I'm putting this for rent, right? That can be sometimes cheaper, yes, but in terms of liability, it's not the best because that landlord could tell you, we're not going to use a lease. You'll just stay here if you want the room, right? But how can that protect you? How can that, if something happens, if you don't have renter's insurance, if the landlord says the rate is now $1,000 more a month, there was nothing protecting you saying that this was the amount paid per month, or that this is the security deposit that you're entitled back to at the end of the lease term. So it just can lead into certain situations that I have seen. I've heard the horror stories. Not saying that that's a bad rep for Zillow, but I will say though, by using a realtor, whether or not if you're looking to list your property for rent or for sale, or you as the tenant or the buyer, it's always best to use a realtor. Often the compensation from tenant to broker can be paid in full by the landlord. However, many realtors, especially with rentals, the tenant would come up with certain broker's fees depending on the client.
Yeah, very, very important. And I can really see how you guys can use those tools that Compass has to really help you out and really benefit the clients as well. So that's pretty cool how you mesh those two things. So that's very interesting. So switching gears a little bit, you were renowned as a master negotiator. What is the single most important principle you adhere to in every negotiation? And how do you ensure the best outcomes for your clients, whether they are buying, selling, or renting?
100%. So, of course, we all want the cheapest price, right? The price is not always the
Of
best
course.
thing to look at. So, a certain situation, actually, yeah, I would say this. So, my most recent rental that I did, it was around a almost 3,100 a month. Yes. It's a brand new townhome, just about 10 minutes away from me, off the Delaware River. It's near and adjacent to Fishtown. It's a beautiful, beautiful, brand new construction community. And with that specific listing, there was about 4 to 5 other listings that were listed almost exactly the same. So they were relatively comparable. They were very similar. By me coming to my client and telling them about the comps, telling them about, that this is relatively a good rate, they still wanted me to negotiate the price. The price was the biggest thing. Now, were we looking at something a little bit out of their price range? Yes, but they also found this on the collection. This, I mentioned to them, this has what you're looking for: a parking garage, a balcony. You have washer and dryer. You have this, you have that. You have an extra bedroom because one is working from home, the other one is within the medical industry, right? That parking garage will play such a great role in Philly because you cannot ever find parking after 4. So if those non-negotiables, they needed to get, right? We had to get that for that listing. So they really wanted this property. Now, when we came into the negotiating table, I wanted to see how far could the landlord and the listing agent could go on in terms of the price. So it could say, well, we just want $200 off. $200 off is a big amount. However, it's not realistic. And I knew that. So I'm going to tell my client the exact situation before I go back to the listing agent that I'm not sure if they are going to accept this. It's not realistic, but if there's something that you really want me to do, I will be in your best interest and I will use that to go back to them, right? So which I did. They denied it. They were not even budging on the rate at all. I came back to
Mm-hmm.
my client. I said, all right, like I was mentioning, they actually did say no. Now with that was like the first click into their head that, okay, so we cannot just name a price and this is what it's going to be, right? So it did not happen, but we still did end up getting a $50 price reduction on the rent, and we had a uh, I negotiated a longer term lease with the option of the extension, and they did favor that. Um, Even if it's $50 over
Yeah,
the
very
term.
nice. I can see how you're.
Yeah, even if
Go
it's
ahead.
$50 over the term of to about 12 months, that's a lot of money, right? And so yeah, they were
Yeah.
very happy with that.
Yeah, I can see how your negotiation skills really helped out there and you used them to benefit your client, which is the most important thing in the long run.
Yeah. I do have one
So
more story though.
specialties include commercial properties.
Yeah. Okay.
Your
So I
specialties
sold a
include
condo
commercial
earlier this
properties and
year.
investment properties.
Yeah. So I sold a condo earlier this year. That condo had an HVAC that was not inspected, and it was over 25 years or 22 years since the last inspection. The seller did not know.
Wow.
It's not like they were withholding that information, but it wasn't on a disclosure. The seller's disclosure
Uh
is a
huh.
disclosure that states all of the known defects, like the lot size, the specifics of the property. That's going to be within the seller's disclosure. Within that, we have to have a separate inspection. And this is my client. I was representing him in the buyer's representation. We came into wanting to do an inspection. We did the inspection. The inspection showed that it wasn't looked at within the last 22 years. The HVAC is the most expensive thing inside of a condo in any given unit. You know, had we not had that inspection, had we not even seen that, that type of HVAC would only live on for about 2 more years before it fully gave up. So we were credited about $12,000 to have the HVAC fully replaced. That's a lot of money.
Wow, yeah, that's very impressive
And
that
my buyer,
you were able to catch that and then help out your clients like that.
yeah, and my buyer, he had given all cash in that transaction, so we were not seeking out a mortgage. There was no mortgage contingency. We still went ahead and had my buyer credited $12,000, and he was happy with that. He still went ahead and we closed. It was a great transaction. My buyer was moving from New York to here to Philadelphia. As a majority of my clients are actually not from Philadelphia. They have moved here, which is great. I do notice that there's an influx of that happening within the city.
I think I lost you there a little bit. I think I lost you there for a little bit, but I think we're good now. We can edit that out too, so we're all right. Your specialties include commercial properties and investment properties. How does your MBA background help you analyze potential commercial or investment deals? And what advice do you give clients who are looking to transition from residential to investment property ownership?
No, totally. That's a great question. So I do specialize within commercial properties as well. Commercial does take a little bit longer than residential. However, the payout in terms of commission is a little bit more depending on the type of commercial property. So if you're looking at a space that's 2,000 square feet, you would like to turn it into your own personal gym. That's totally fine. However, we have to look specifically at in terms of investment. So there's something called the cap rate. So it's a rate that has all of your expected ROI, which is your profit margin that you would think about having received per year. And given that rate, if it's at 8%, 7%, or even 9%, you can see about those profit margins. So if you wanted to open up a gym that is around, I don't know, maybe Grays Ferry here in it's like South or more like almost West Philadelphia versus here in Fishtown, you can have a certain demographic. And if it's relatively the same, like if you're looking at maybe it to be $2,000 a month for a 1,500 square feet space, or $3,000 a month for a 2,000 square feet place, the location plays a large role. So if you're going to be paying more in terms of that lease term, how can you be able to meet your margins and your profit goals as the client? And I will be here to help guide you. In fact, we do work with a lot of commercial lenders, a lot of mortgage brokers who have that power to really just see specifically to guide how we can go ahead and get that deal done.
Yeah, very impressive. And I'm sure your business background helps so much with the trust of investors. They know that someone like you can understand the numbers and make sure that they're making a good investment when they move on a property like that.
Oh, 100%. In fact, Philadelphia has one of the largest amounts of duplexes on the Northeast. Philadelphia is the final place on the East Coast that you can actually get the cheapest rent, being this close to New York City, Washington, D.C., Boston, and any other metro area. It's very close by. We have a lot of people who are moving from these major cities to Philadelphia after given the high rates of inflation. Now we're in a stagflation phase, which is even worse than inflation. So people are really feeling the effects as of now. And instead of paying more because of the inflation, you can kind of offset those costs by moving to a cheaper city that in my eyes would give you more opportunity.
Yeah, great information there. And that definitely leads me to my next question here very well. A nice segue. That you emphasize that profound understanding of the market. How do you stay ahead of the curve in a fast moving market like Philadelphia? And what is one key metric or indicator you watch closely that others might overlook?
Totally. I would say as a realtor, you really do need to become very like your personal life is your business life and your business life is your personal life. Like there is no like for example, some realtors have like a business page for their Instagram and a personal page. You are your own business, you are your own person. You need to market yourself as such. All your friends need to look at you and think you are a realtor. You know, it's not a side job that people just tend to just take up on when they are just looking for something. I guess in the beginning, sure, you're probably not going to make as much in the beginning. So sure, have your full-time job, have your, but as soon as you get home, you need to be marketing yourself. You need to figure out how you can invest into your business. So examples, what I did was I actually started going to a run club. I did a couple run clubs. There's a run club in Philadelphia called Lunge Run Club. It's a great run club here. There's a Fishtown Run Club. A friend of mine is the CEO of Date Philadelphia, which is a really, really large, I believe it's the largest singles dating event here in Philadelphia. So that's really nice. And shout out to Vanessa, but she is great. And the events that she holds there is amazing. So I would offer and volunteer as like checking people in. I'll hand them a business card as well. And think about meeting maybe 300 people per event. It's a large and a lot amount of people. You might meet Kevin, and Kevin is not wanting to buy a house for another year. We have vetted Kevin. We know that Kevin has a great credit score. We know that Kevin has a really good job. He has lived here for a certain X amount of time. He's rented. He wants to rent for a little bit longer so that he can purchase his home. Those you need to plant those seeds now and in the beginning of your career and at all times and never stop so that you could be able to like think of a tree. You have certain seasons, right? In the fall seasons and the winter seasons, the leaves fall, but what they do grow back. Yeah, they do grow back. So, and when the tree gets even more green, you make more money. So that's really nice to have. Being more intentional of what people are not doing, that's what you need to be doing. Yeah.
Yeah, what a great point. And, you're making those connections. And like you said, you just never know when they could work out. And, always putting that effort forward to network, and it can really be beneficial for you in the long run. So looking ahead, what key trends or shifts do you anticipate in the Philadelphia real estate market, especially concerning the demand for commercial or investment properties? And how is Revolve Philly Group preparing for those changes?
Yeah, so I would say around this time though, I've experienced a lot more rentals than a lot of inquiries for home buying or selling, unless if it's at an open house. This is just like the outreach or the in-reach that we get from like leads and stuff like that. We've received a lot more rentals. They have a higher amount of retention rate, but if you know what you're doing, if you know how to vet these clients, you can of course get the deal done. You need to like on your second meeting with that person as a realtor, just get the representation agreement signed because if you're just conversating with them, you're saying, yeah, I could be your realtor. You're not going ahead and getting it signed. How can they for sure be your realtor? I've had in the beginning, it was hell. I've been talking to clients and they would be like, oh yeah, great, we're gonna use you, and then next thing you know, you don't hear them for 2 days, and they're yeah, we already found a place. You already found a place. How is that? How does that happen? You know what I mean? Even close friends of mine. Yeah. So it was a lot. Yeah. I feel like that was my biggest obstacle to get over. But in terms of current trends, we have a lot of new construction here in the city. The mayor, she's been great. She actually started this project home, which actually gives a lot of people who have lived in the city of Philadelphia for a certain amount of time to be given major discounts on their home purchases, as well as assistance for home buying. There are certain closing costs that you do have to come up with, like inspections and many other different conveyancing fees and whatnot that you need to come up as like for a buyer. You can get approved for the mortgage, right? You could do 3% down, 20% down, 10% down, whatever that might be. But there are closing costs that you need to come up with. And so there are programs that you can get some or if not all of your closing costs covered by that so you can become a great home buyer. And so I've been doing a lot of open houses. I've gathered leads that way. I've gathered leads from social media. I've gathered leads from people who just word of mouth, that's great. And if I had not done everything that I have done before, this would not have happened. Yeah. I get a lot of my leads from my team lead, because think about it like this. If we have a team lead who is great at his job, he's doing amazing, he gets so much business, right? And it might be a little bit too much, so he does disperse the leads out to us. But we do work very hard amongst ourselves to be able to invest in our business and get our own leads that way. I feel like that's important. I guess in your beginning stages, it's important to have that mentorship. I think that's the number one thing. Mentorship, make sure that your leads are even being given to you, a little bit of hand holding, but after the first two transactions, you're on your own. That's in my eyes, how I was led, how I was taught, how I got through, because I am a solutions based person, and I really always want to teach myself, learn from my failures, fail 10 times and then get back on my feet. As long as I keep getting back up, you're going to be even stronger and a lot better at your business and overall yourself.
Yeah, a lot of great points there for sure. I mean, a lot of times in business, and especially a competitive one like yours, it's just about continuing to push forward. And yeah, you're going to make some mistakes and you're going to screw some things up, but you just got to find a way to learn from that and keep moving on, and not make those same mistakes again. So that's great that you see those mistakes that you maybe made in the past, and you're always trying to learn and get better from those.
Mm-hmm.
So, Josh, this conversation's been incredibly insightful, truly showcasing how your academic excellence, technological savvy, and master negotiation skills combine to deliver exceptional results. Your North Fork experience offers powerful lessons for any professional in the industry. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Before we wrap up, for our listeners in the greater Philadelphia area who are looking for a realtor with knowledge, experience, and their best interests in mind, what's the best way for them to reach out or learn more about your services with Revolve Philly Group at Compass?
Of course, you can contact me. I do have my number at 215-05-0435 in text, and I can assist that way. Or if you would like to reach out via email, it's josh.teshome@compass.com. Or if you would like to find me on Instagram, it's josh_teshome_.
We will make sure we include those details in our show notes for easy access. That's all for this episode of the North Fork Experience. A huge thank you again to our incredible guest, Josh Teshome, and thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep experiencing all that our communities have to offer. Thank you.
Thank you.